Hi, I'm Nick Agar. Welcome to Dictum's woodturning workshop. Today we're going to discuss the various flute shapes we get on our gouges and the grinds that affect those shapes and how we use them. There's a variety of spindle gouges to choose from. There is this type of spindle gouge, quite common in UK workshops, which has a slightly more deeper flute and it doesn't run all the way up the bar, giving greater stability when we're further over the tool rest. Taking various grinds, and it particularly well accepts the fingernail grind. There are some also which are slightly more shallow in flute, and this may lend itself to being ground with a secondary bevel and is sometimes called a detail gouge. There's also the forged version, sometimes known as the European or continental spindle gouge. It has a rounded bevel on the edge, and we'll look at this in the video. This is more of a UK type of spindle gouge and a slightly deeper flute with some material left at the back of the flute to enable a little less vibration when reaching further over the tool rest. So it really lends itself to getting into a tighter corner between places. So we just come round this one almost upside down. Lovely tight finish underneath that. The nice thing about this European spindle gouge are the rolled edges, so it's nice on the hand and you can go further over with the gouge on this surface. So it's comfortable to use. Nice wide one means I can reach further over the tool rest. So it really takes the work, the hard work out. Whether you're underhand or overhand grip, it's just a pleasure to use. Right over. If I want these to go in tighter, it's possible. Otherwise I'm going to have to go in with a skew. But I can get a really nice tight bead in there with this beautiful big tool. Now we're going to sharpen some spindle gouges, and these will have a bevel angle of 35 degrees. When you first take a tool out of the packet, this may be the style of grind you'll see on the tip. It'll work, but in my opinion there is more advantage to taking the cutting edge a little bit further around. This is a spindle gouge with a more traditional grind, and we're going to sharpen it using the woven fingernail grinding attachment. I'm going to push the tool so that it projects 65mm from the front, and then I have it set at jig setting number 2, or the second notch from the front. I need to then adjust this so that the bevel is touching on the side of the wheel, roll it around, and if in doubt you can use the black pen on the bevel here and we're good to sharpen. Get your hands out of the way of the spinning wheel. I tend to put my fingers on the top, then I can start on the side, rolling over, gentle sweep, making sure you've covered all the way around the edge and you have a sharp tool. So if we wish to transfer a grind from a Wolverine to the Tormek, and for example the standard grind on this spindle gouge, we can use an attachment called the OVC1 with this original piece from our Tormek. I'm going to set this up using hole A on the TTS 100 so that both the little wheels are in contact with my grinding wheel. I'm setting the jig to number 2 with a projection of 65mm. Slide the jig over, make sure it's got bevel contact all the way around, and we're good to grind. So for our traditional grind on an English spindle gouge, we're going to set the TTS 100 to hole A so that both little wheels are making contact. We're going to use the SVD 185 and put the gouge in with a projection of 65 millimeters. Do it up tight and then slide it over. Check the bevel is in the correct position and we're ready to grind. If you put your thumb on the back, you can put some pressure forwards and you're able to move the tool over the top of your hand. Use all of the wheel and that should be all that's required. If you then want, you can transfer this over and hone the other side. This can be done with any of the gouges we're sharpening, but we use this as an example. So using the TTS 100 again, I'll make sure we have the contact at the right angle. Left the gouge exactly where it was. Put some honing paste on the wheel. A little bit of extra pressure this time with my two fingers resting on top. One or two sweeps over here will just give that cutting edge a nice polish. You'll see we have a beautiful edge. Let's have a look at the use of this traditional grind. It allows an easy access into corners. It can also be used underhand, cutting just below the centre of the flute. Nice clean access, roll the tool over. So this is the European spindle gouge. It has a forged flute and we are sharpening a fingernail grind which is much more versatile for its use at an angle on the bevel of suggested 35 degrees. Using the Wolverine attachment, and this tool, because the flute goes all the way to the very back, allows complete use until the tool is no use anymore. 55mm projection, jig setting number 2. Move the arm so that it's corresponding to the bevel all the way around and sharpen. Start on the edge, very light pressure in the centre, and 1 or 2 passes should be all you need for a wonderful sharp edge. We're going to set the TTS 100 up to hole B, a projection of 55mm, and we have set the jig on the SVD 185 to number 3. Slide it over, start the machine, perhaps put your thumb underneath, making sure you've got plenty of clearance, work your way around, use the whole of the wheel, and that should be you done with a super sharp tool. So this is the fingernail grind, and this one will allow me to get nice and tight into those areas, but also good to travel all the way around because the wing is swept further back. I can get better access. So we'll just take the edge off this bead. So it really lends itself to getting into a tighter corner between places. So we just come round this one almost upside down, lovely tight finish underneath that, and I can come down inside here the same way. For this bead I'll roll back in. Super. Whether it's the English shape or the European shape, both these grinds are interchangeable between the tools. So I hope you've had benefit from watching our turning tips and continue to enjoy your journey in wood turning.